You know, we make our plans and what we think will be best, but we have to leave that space, you know, for what is Krishna's idea, what is Krishna's desire. So we always have to live like that, actually, the uncertainty principle. Never quite sure, you know, what's going to happen. If you want a peaceful life, you can go to Vaikuntha. But if you want to live in Vrindavan, then we have to always be on edge. Okay.
That's right.
Saraswati Didi knows all about that. Mahamantra also. Jai Shri Gurudev. Jai Saraswati. But, you know, in the beginning, such a thing may be very difficult to accommodate, you know. Like there was that German disciple, right, of Srila Saraswati Thakur. And this was very difficult for him. He's coming from Germany, you know, they're known for their punctuality and their precision, and, you know, they do everything according to schedule and so on and so forth. So he spent some time in India, and you know, he would take them on preaching programs and traveling around India, different events taking place, and things would change a lot. You know, they'd have a schedule to do such and such, and then last minute would change, and like this, you know. So it was going on for some time, and this was becoming very stressful for him. And so he actually approached Srila Saraswati Thakur about this one day and said, you know, if you could give me like 1 week's notice before something's going to happen, I'd really appreciate that, because where I'm coming from, I'm accustomed to planning things out and having some schedule, some program, and, you know, so if you could tell me 1 week in advance, you know, what the schedule's going to be, or if something's going to change, I'd really appreciate that. It would be a lot easier for me. And Srila Saraswati Thakur said, but I only got the information 5 minutes ago, you know, so how can I give you 1 week's notice? And he, as I understand, he meant in a spiritual, because he's making the decisions, but he meant in a spiritual sense, you know, that you know, that inspiration is coming from above. So I only got that just now, you know, so how can I give you so much so much notice? So, you know, the dynamic absolute, you know, things are always, we were talking about this yesterday, about in regards to the nature of Mahaprabhu. It is the nature of, if we're approaching the highest reality, it means we're approaching a dynamic reality. So those who are really attuned to that plane, they're always in this very like sensitive, observant and conscious mood, you know, trying to, or observing, you know, what waves are coming from above, what is the will of, you know, Guru, Gauranga, Krishna, because things can always change and shift in a very quick and very sudden way. So they're always very sensitive to that. And things can move in very unexpected way. There's that famous line of Srila Rupa Goswami, Her Eva Gati Premna Sabhava Kutila Bhavet, that the nature of prema is moving in a crooked way, like a snake. Some zigzag. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj has that wonderful expression, the zigzag line of the truth. So things aren't always going in a straight way, you know, or as you expect, as you can predict or calculate, or as was previously told. You know, all rights reserved, right? Srila Sridhar Maharaj says that. All rights reserved, you know. He will decide as he likes, when he likes, and he doesn't have to explain to anyone. It's also mentioned in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Abhigya Swarat. This is very crucial to remember at every step, actually. That he is this is the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, like the Sambandha Gyan verse, what is the nature of that absolute? And so it's mentioned there, Abhigya Swadat. Abhigya means that he perfectly knows everything that's going on and why it's going on. He's all-knowing, perfectly knowing. As Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, he knows why this blade of grass is moving this way and not that way. To that extent, to that degree of detail, he knows. But then what's the next word? Swadat. Swadat means independence. He is independent. So it means he knows, and he doesn't have to explain either. He's not bound by your constitution, He's not part of a democracy. Democracy is only necessary when there's corruption. Otherwise, democracy is a terrible idea, that the general mass who are ignorant are going to decide the fate of the whole. It's like a ridiculous idea, democracy. But you need it if there's corruption, right? So it's just the result of a corrupt society. Then you need democracy. Otherwise, autocracy, that makes the most sense. You have a qualified, leader who's acting in the interest of all, and then they just make the decisions. So Krishna is an autocrat. Like if parents are dealing with children, the children can't understand, all the instructions. Their parents will tell them, just take this pretty little pink tablet and it'll be good for you. And the children try to say, why, Mommy, why do I have to take this? They're not going to understand if you sit down and explain, So in the same way, the Lord, He is independent. He knows what is good for us. He knows what's appropriate. He knows what's right. And He doesn't need to explain. We're not necessarily capable of understanding anyway. We're not in every situation. We have a very finite, pinhole perspective on the environment. So we have no capacity to understand. And we don't need to anyway. But that's where love comes in. Love is the all-harmonizing principle. Faith and love. We have love for the Lord. We have faith in His goodwill. And therefore, whatever is coming, it is good. It is good. Because He loves us. He is Suhridam Sarvabhutanam. He is friendly to all. So anyhow, the Vaishnavas, they're always living in this very sensitive mood, conscious mood, trying to understand what is what, who is who, what is the proper way to proceed. And they are not deceived by the cover of anything, by the appearance of anything. I was thinking how, so easily we are bewildered by the external environment in what we may observe in others or what we may be going through ourselves. We become emotional and disturbed, but the true nature, reality, what's really going on, it's not on the cover. It's not on the surface. Like in the case of, I was thinking in the case of Draupadi, right? In the Vastraharan, her, what's it called? Vastraharan? I don't remember the name. But, when she's disrobed publicly, then, on the surface, there's something in particular going on, right? Draupadi's being utterly humiliated. And so many, degraded persons are, apparently they have the upper hand, But where is truth? Where does truth actually lie here? Who's actually in a superior position? What's actually going on here? No, actually, by someone someone who's misbehaving, someone who's doing wrong, they're automatically in the lowest position. They've already degraded themselves, whether they're being humiliated or not. Lack of virtue is itself the most degraded and humiliating position to be in. Whether that's being, nowadays in this society, it's all about the cover, So what's published in the newspaper, that's what counts, But what really happened, that doesn't matter. But it's actually the opposite. What appears on the cover, what's in the newspaper, that doesn't matter. But what actually happened, that is real. That is reality. So actually, in that case with Draupadi, what's happening with her is the deepest mood of surrender. Although apparently she's being put in this very low position and humiliated, actually it is the most noble position, because the deepest mood of surrender is being drawn out of her. And she makes this call to Krishna, which touches his heart on such a deep level. She makes this call, this appeal of the highest type of surrender. And we hear Srila Sridhar Maharshi commented that this is the highest point of Mahabharata, even higher than Gita, inconceivably, even higher than the highest point of Gita. This absolute call of full, wholesale surrender that Draupadi makes to Krishna in that moment of humiliation, that's the highest point of Mahabharata. So although apparently she's in this, humiliated position, she's actually in the highest position there. And then so many persons sitting there, so many seniors who don't say anything, they are in a low position. Although they have their big seat and their big chair and their big position, by their silence, they've degraded themselves by not saying anything. Also in Prahlad Maharaj and Nrsingadev, in that pastime, Srila Sridhar Maharshi comments how, Hiranyakashipu, he had his calculation about the environment, right? And Prahlad has another calculation about the environment. Prahlad is seeing the Lord is everywhere, the Lord's in control, the Lord's behind everything. That's what he's seeing. But Hiranyakashipu is seeing something completely different. So then, who's right in the end? I think he says that Prahlad's calculation of the environment comes out with flying colors or something like that. So we are trying to connect ourselves on that deeper plane of reality, not become bewildered by so many superficial play, but what's really going on underneath. This is Paramahamsa vision, right? They're seeing that inner, that essence, that deeper purpose and meaning behind everything. They're not Nate vidu swarta. We're mentioning Prahlad. This is one of Prahlad's famous verses. Nate vidu swarta. Gatim hi Vishnum Dorashaya Jayamahir Artamanina. The conditioned souls of this world, they cannot understand that the real purpose of life is Vishnu, to reach Vishnu, to serve Vishnu. That the real substance of everything, behind everything, it is Vishnu, the Lord. So, Bahir Artamanina, that some bahir, some external thing, some outer thing, some superficial thing on the cover, Arta Manina, they're thinking that is valuable, they're thinking that is substantial, that is meaningful. But they can't see the deeper substance behind. Srila Sridhar Maharshi gives the example of a cup of milk with some cream on the top. They're seeing that thin layer of cream on the top and not the milk underneath. What is really there? What is the greater substantial part, you know. Or like Srila Sridhar Maharaj also says, you know, this whole mundane reality is like an iceberg floating in an ocean of consciousness. You know? This whole world of matter is like one small iceberg floating on this vast ocean of consciousness. We're just on this very tiny, we're connecting with the very tiny and finite aspect of the sum total of reality. We are living like in this imaginary world, actually. Imaginary playground world, considering so many unimportant, animalistic things to be important. But the true nature reality is behind. So, you know, in our condition, we have to try to be very careful in how we proceed in everything, you know, because we have to be aware, like, we have a condition. Like we were discussing yesterday, you know, we have a condition, you know, we have like somebody has a mental condition, so we have a condition. What I mean to say is our estimation of the environment is not clear. Our powers of discrimination, our powers of judgment, they are flawed, no, seriously flawed. Not just a little flawed, but very flawed. So that's why we are advised, right? We always have to check in with the version of the absolute truth. So according to according to the prejudice, misconception that I've acquired over so many lifetimes, I'm having a particular perception, experience of the environment and reacting in a particular way, according to that black box of ego. But we have to try and disregard that as much as possible and check in with the higher truth. You know? Not how does this suit me, according to my understanding, or it may not even be about us. It may not be selfishness. It may be extended selfishness, as Srila Sridhar says. Maybe a little bit better than maybe extended selfishness is a little bit better than just plain selfishness, but not much better. It's still based on misconception. So to set that aside, which is difficult, right? When emotions are flying, the ego's exploding, it's difficult to do that. But in some disinterested manner, to try to set that whole like package aside and try to understand, you know, what is the revealed truth saying? What is, you know, Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vaishnava, what is their version? What is their version of reality? What is their take on this? And then to act according to that. That's die to live. You know? If we can act according to those higher principles, disregarding our own false conception of the environment and our own instincts on how to, our own false instincts on how to, if we can do that, then some burning takes place, you know. There's a type of burning, there's a fire that is created by that. And in that fire, all that ego and misconception, misidentification, false attachment, it will shrivel up. You know? You don't give it any food, it will starve. It will die fasting, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj says. It will burn in that fire of sacrifice, of trying to offer ourselves to the higher plane of truth. So it is the most powerful thing. But very difficult, of course.
very big.
Yeah.
Well, we can read a little bit of Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think. So, oh yeah. Well, here's a very good case in point, right? What we're discussing. Ishan. So, Ishan took 8 gold coins with him secretly. He confessed to having 7. But Sanatan understood from what the landlord said he actually had 8. So anyhow, Sanatan hands over these 7 gold coins, but then when they've left, he questions Ishan. Jai Gurudev. Tabe par hoye gosai puchila Ishane, jani shesh dravya kichu ache tomastane. After crossing the hills, Sanatan Goswami told his servant, Ishan, I think you still have some balance left from the gold coins. Ishan kohe ek moha ache avashesh, Gosai kohe moha loya jahatu midesh. Ishan replied, I still have 1 gold coin in my possession. Sanatan Goswami then said, anyone remember?
Yes.
You remember. What does he tell him?
I remember that story about.
What is Mahaprabhu?
He's telling him, go away, don't come with me, right?
Yeah, well, Sanatan says, Sanatan, he asks him, you still have something left? And Ishan says, yes, I have 1 gold coin left. And then what does Sanatan tell Ishan?
Throw it away?
Huh?
Throw it away? You cannot come with 1 coin, right? Something like.
Yeah, like that. He doesn't give a direct instruction like that. He doesn't force him. He, like you said, he says, take the coin and go home, like that. You know, he's not forcing any order on him. Like you gotta give it up. Like if you're so attached to that more than this, then just go home with that. You know, you can keep the coin. And he does that. Sanatan Goswami then said, Ishan replied, I still have 1 gold coin in my possession. Sanatan Goswami then said, take the coin and return to your home. Very heavy. And he does that. He cannot conceive the value of what is on the other side, you know. I mean, can you imagine like the direct personal association of Sanatan Goswami? And they're going to meet Mahaprabhu, so he's going to have Mahaprabhu's personal association. But in his world, in his concocted world, 1 gold coin is more valuable than that, you know. 1 gold coin, which is it's not gonna last very long. Doesn't matter how many gold coins. If it was 1,000,000 gold coins, it has no substantial basis. It's not gonna last, and it's only gonna get you something of this temporary world, you know, miserable and temporary mortal world.
Is this like which Goswami? Sanatan Goswami is trying to make him surrender, but he don't want.
He's not trying to make him, actually. He's not forcing him. He's like showing an opportunity to him. And this was Gurudev's method too. He didn't beat anyone over the head, you know, he wasn't forcing anyone. He was like showing, there's this whole beautiful reality here. And you're welcome to join, it's free. But I'm not telling you anything. You know, this is Gurudev. This was what we saw with Gurudev. Gurudev was just showing, like, I'm living a very happy life of surrender and dedication, and you're welcome to come. Or you can, you know, live your sad life in the world, you know. So in the same way, Sanatan's not giving any order here, like, give it up, you know. He's not forcing anything. He's like, he knows he has Ishan knows he has an open invitation to go with Sanatan, but he's not forcing that on him. He's saying, if you're so attached to that one gold coin, then please, you can have it, but go home, because that's too dangerous. It's too risky for us to travel with that. And so Ishan, he makes his decision.
So that's the only reason, because it's dangerous, or it's also meant to understand that if you want to surrender, you cannot keep anything like for just like an assurance for yourself.
Yeah, of course. It's all this circumstance is drawing out these inner teachings, right? So of course on one level, it's dangerous to travel with money, but the main point is something deeper, as you're saying. Yeah, that we have to become free of all material attachment. Yes, that is what we are told. And I mean, this juxtaposition, it really highlights our own condition, like how ridiculous it is. This contrast here, it highlights, how we have attachment and we consider so many insignificant things to be very important. But compared to what we're being offered, they're like garbage, like nothing. That may count for something in this world, that gold coin, but it is nothing compared to what is being offered to us. So I mean, it's almost like ridiculous, when you're reading this. But then we're looking at ourselves and reflecting. I'm in the same position, actually. I'm in exactly the same position. So many little things are so important to me. But for persons who have real appreciation for what's being offered, they're ready to give up, 1,000,000 gold coins 100 times over. They see it has zero value compared to what is being offered to us. So Srila Saraswati Thakur, he made that extreme expression, that even if the whole world is on fire, when he, after the Gaur Purnima ceremony, you heard that story. He was telling the people, they're coming to say goodbye to him after the festival, and he's telling them, don't cheat me. Don't cheat me. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj heard that, and he was puzzled. Why is he talking about cheating? They came for the festival, and now the festival's over and they're going home. Like, this is normal. So why is he saying, don't cheat me? So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he went closer to hear, and then Srila Saraswati Thakur continued. You all came here, you entered into some agreement with me that you were going to serve Krishna, but now you're going home and you're going to forget everything, You're going to go back to your ordinary life. And we have to remember also, what is really meant here is not necessarily a change in our lifestyle, but change of consciousness. That is the main point here. Giving up attachment is not an external thing. It's a matter of the heart, a matter of consciousness. So anyway, Srila Saraswati Thakur made this expression, and so he said, but you've made some promise, you're going to serve Krishna, but now you're going home and you're going to forget everything. And you may tell me, oh, I have to take care of some things and I'll come back, or I have to put some fire out, and when the fire's out, then I'll come back. But I will say to you that even if the whole world is on fire, nothing is more important than this, You can let the whole world burn, but nothing will meet your interest your real self-interest more than this. Everything you need, all your necessities, everything you need and everything you may want, everything will be fully satisfied only in this, in Krishnanushilanam, in the cultivation of Krishna consciousness, service of Sri Krishna. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj, when he heard that convinced him, because he hadn't taken initiation yet. It was about a year he'd been visiting, but he hadn't made his decision yet. But when he heard that expression of Srila Saraswati Thakur, that was it, Thought, wow, I have to put my head here, Nowhere in the world will I find such, intensity of earnestness to serve Krishna. I must give myself to this cause. So those who are really awake, they perceive such intense necessity. I don't recognize any famine other than the famine of Krishna Katha, right? You heard that. There's also that other famous story, also with Sanatana Goswami. He had that touchstone, right? You heard Srila Charji Maharaj tell that story. And somebody came, needed some money, and asked him, "Oh, I heard you have this touchstone. Can I have it?" "Yeah, it's somewhere in that garbage pile over there. You can have it. If you can find it, no problem." And so he found it, and then he thought, wait a minute, what is it that he has that is more valuable than this touchstone, which can provide me with everything of value in this world? What is it that he has that's more valuable than all the value of this world? So that's what we are inquiring into. That is what Guru and Shastra, they are telling us. Inquire into that type of thing, That famous line in the Upanishads. What is it? I'm trying to think of the Sanskrit. But try to know that thing upon knowing which everything will be known. Try to have that thing. Try to get that thing by which getting everything will be got. How does it go now? Sanskrit. Prapa Tadeva Brahma. It's in home comfort, or maybe it's in home or inner fulfillment. But try to know that central thing. Try to get that central thing, because otherwise we're getting this in this plane, we're getting this, getting that, going here, going there, but we're not satisfied, That disease, that hunger, it's always playing in our heart. Doesn't matter how much you get, You're never satisfied. You see that in the world, People think, oh, if I can get this car, then I'm going to be happy, If I can get that job, if I can get this pay rise, or whatever, but they get it and they're not happy. Then they want something more and something more and something more. This insatiable thirst, asat trishna, this thirst for what is false in this world. It's this disease, never ending, never satisfied. So why waste your time with that, Why waste your time? But try to get that thing that if you get one touch of it, you're drowning, If you get one glimpse, one touch, you're paralyzed. Try to get that thing, Of course, and a different type of insatiable thirst will awaken within you. But that is of a different category. And that is not producing misery, that is not producing death, That is producing joy and immortality, life. that at every step you're getting more taste, more satisfaction. Now, how is it possible? Just by uttering 2 syllables, someone can be so satisfied. Krishna. That's all they need. The realized souls of the highest category. They're just satisfied by that. They don't need anything else. That they can just vibrate those 2 syllables. They can hear that, they can chant that, and they can give up everything of this world and the next world. So, how substantial is that? No jane janito kiyadbir amritai krishneti varnadvai. Srila Rupa Goswami. I cannot say, I don't know how much ecstasy is in just these 2 syllables of Krishna. I cannot estimate how much amrita, how much nectar is there. It is beyond my comprehension. Such power, such sweetness, such substance is in just these 2 syllables. There's one recording where Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he's speaking very openly, and in a way you normally don't hear him speak, and saying, when I hear, because someone asks him, why Krishna? Why not another name? Krishna has so many names. Why is this the one? And so he's speaking about Krishna. It's describing his attractive force, that power of attraction, and how attraction is the greatest force in this world. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, when I hear the name Krishna, every nerve in my body is attracted by that. That's what he says. Very frankly, openly he's speaking and sharing his experience. Every nerve in my body is attracted when I hear the name Krishna. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he didn't need anything in this world, Our Gurudev, for the purpose of running a mission and taking care of souls like us, he was engaging with so many things and utilizing so many things. But in the case of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that wasn't his nature. He was satisfied with nothing, He was satisfied with nothing, like the Goswamis of Vrindavan. Cup of buttermilk, dried chapati. They don't need anything, They just the name. That's all they need, Not necessary to spend so much physical energy, not necessary to spend so much mental energy, so much exertion in these different spheres, but that, simple approach, simple and profound approach of the heart, in taking the name. Nothing else is where full satisfaction can be found. In that way. Everything can be had in that way. So such a prospect has been given to us, extended to us. All right. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Garudadev Goswami Jai. Didi, you want to sing? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna. No? Okay. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.